Okay. All right. It looks like we are live. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining the Business Journal in this important discussion on diversity and inclusion here in the Valley. I'm Josh Medor. I'm Special Projects Editor here at the Business Journal. I'm joined by two lovely guests, Tanisha Wheeler, there in the middle, who is Director of Curriculum Development and the Youth Entrepreneurship Program at the Youngstown Business Incubator. And next to her is Ricole Taltone, who is the owner of Rockbrook Business Services. Both of them are featured in our page one issue of, or page one of our August issue, talking about entrepreneurs of color here in the Valley. So I guess the best place to start off is, getting to know both of you. So we can start with you, Ricole. What led you to, to creating Rockbrook Business Services, and just what are some of the things that you do?
What led me to create Rockbrook Business Services was the lack of accounting that was in the community. We don't have it. I don't know how else to say it, but we didn't have it, and it is something that is very needed when you're in the process of starting a business. Once you get into the business, and keeping track of your money is very important. Knowing where you stand every month, every quarter, is very important. So I lived in Dayton, Ohio for several years, and I had a client at that time there when I had moved back here, and she needed some financial statements, and I was just doing taxes. And when she called me at the time, I was trying to figure out how I could move beyond tax season. And with that phone call, that let me know, I could continue, preparing their financial statements through the year to keep myself afloat. And from there, it just grew. I started in my home. I was able to go into the Oak Hill Collaborative, thanks to the executive director, Patrick Kerrigan. I appreciate the opportunity. And from there, with the assistance of then building manager Sean McKinney, I was able to move into 20 West Federal Street. So I want to thank you, Pat and Sean, for those opportunities, because they are the reason why I am where I am today.
Okay, great. And for you, Tanisha, what led you to your position there at the YBI? It looks like she
Josh,
is.
Was it my turn?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you both now. So the question was, how did I get started at YBI, or what do I do?
What was your path to the incubator?
So I, once I graduated from YSU, I started working for a local nonprofit dealing with youth in the area. Prior to that, I worked in the Youngstown City School District. So when it was time for me to leave that organization, Stephanie and myself, we saw a need for economic development, but at a younger age. So we birthed YE, which is the Youth and Entrepreneurship Program here at the YBI. So we do a 15-week cohort where students come in and we register their businesses for them. They learn marketing, they learn accounting, they learn what insurance their business will need. And then eventually they will be ready to pitch their business at the close of the 15 weeks. We launch their websites. We pretty much just get them ready to be business owners, which I think is important, because especially having a conversation like this, the earlier you know, because like Ricole said, accounting is just something that we just don't think is an integral part of owning a business. So to get them at our students are ages 9 through 18. So to get them at those ages and teach them some of the things that we didn't learn until we were adults is really important, and gives them a great step forward in their journey to being business owners.
Okay. And you bring up accounting. What are some of the, sort of that accounting knowledge, that base of education? What are some of the other common barriers that you see facing Black entrepreneurs, Latinx entrepreneurs, Asian women, Muslim entrepreneurs? Just what are some of those barriers that face minority entrepreneurs here in the Valley?
I would definitely say education is like the most important thing. If you don't know, then you can't access what's out there. And I think we're at a point right now where we have opportunities that are available for us. But going back to the accounting, when you open a business and you don't have any bank statements for the last 5 years and you've been operating for 6, there's not much that you can access without that information. So I think education is the first place we need to start, and just not assuming that people know, because I don't think it's a black or white thing. I just think it's just an education thing. If you don't know something, you can't access what you don't know. So starting with the education for sure, and then I think visibility is important. I think knowing what programs are out there, and then those of us that provide those programs, I think it's important for us not to just assume that people know we're here. I'm a church girl, so we always say, take the church to the people, take the stuff to the people. So being just community minded and remembering that, everyone doesn't know everything that they need in this journey.
Okay. And Nicole, I saw you nod your head in agreement a couple times there. Just what do you see? If there's anything different there, or if there's anything you want to sort of reinforce?
Everything Tanisha said is so. I want to add one thing that I do notice moving forward with my clients and starting these businesses is in the minority community, we lack the legal help that we need to move forward, to get these documents, these operating agreements, these partnership agreements, the LLCs. I think those need to be looked over by a lawyer at some point. So I think that is one thing that we lack in our community. And I am working with legal aid right now to see if they would work with us in helping close that gap and ensuring that these documents are good documents and that they could go before, in contractual purposes, that they are used in the way that they're supposed to. Excuse me.
Okay.
So
great.
The legal part of it, we need that. We're missing that.
And so while I talked to both of you for this page 1 story, one thing that both of you brought up independently was, last year, especially in the wake of the Black Lives Matter movement and the social justice movements, there was sort of a new focus on especially Black entrepreneurship. Do you think that movement still has momentum? We're here a year later. What do you see as sort of this long-term movement of supporting minority entrepreneurs?
I think we hit a point where there were several reasons why it was important to start this movement. But I think people right now want to shop small, but more importantly, they want to shop Black. So I think that we definitely can make this a long-term thing. I think what we need to remember as business owners or those that support small businesses is we have to remain consistent. Our product has to remain consistent. Our visibility has to remain consistent. We need to have our stuff in order. So documents, legal, just state filings, everything needs to be in place. Because once the time comes and that right door opens that you've been waiting on, then nothing will be able to stop you from going to the next level with your business. So I think the traction is great, especially here in the Valley. I think people are just excited to shop small, shop Black, shop minority-based businesses. I think it's just up to us to make sure that we maintain the integrity of the company or the business, and just maintain the overall quality of whatever it is that we're providing.
Okay, great. Nicole, do you have anything to add?
Just as Tanisha was saying, we've made great strides. It's a few people that I want to thank because they've created platforms for entrepreneurs to be able to get their products out there and show their products. One of the people that I can't thank enough is Lori Kellum with Women in Business. She made a great platform for women and minority women to be able to get their product out there at least once a month. I have another product that I sell, and I have done phenomenal with that product because of her. So with people giving us opportunities such as Lori, those are things that's going to help make that pivot as we move forward.
Okay. And if any readers are listening and want to read more about Lori's work, she's on page 5 of the August issue of the Business Journal, and she'll be featured on our website, I believe tomorrow morning, if not tomorrow, certainly later in this week. So, both of you talked about, that drive to support minority-owned businesses. When you're talking at the business level, what can business leaders do, to support, whether they're startups or well-established businesses, but other minority-owned businesses, and also foster that support for people of color within their own ranks. Just what can businesses do to make the Valley a more inclusive business community?
Large businesses can hire small businesses for the services that they provide. I just think that is just cut and dry, straight to the point. If you have a contract and you need somebody to do something, instead of looking at that larger company that is very well off, consider smaller companies. Consider somebody who's just entering into the field and has that hunger, has that desire. They may not have the overall knowledge or experience, but be willing to train if you're able to. Be willing to just work with them. I think it's nice to say it, but when the people who have the power are not exchanging that power to small businesses, more importantly minority-owned businesses, then it's hard to make any traction. So I think that's a great point.
I agree. Leave that right there. She said exactly what it is.
Okay. And so, when you zoom out and look at the Valley business community as a whole, why is it important that, as a community, we're supporting businesses of all stripes, of supporting Black-owned businesses, of Latino-owned businesses? Just what does an inclusive business community bring to the Mahoning Valley and the Shenango Valley as a whole?
I think an inclusive business system brings prosperity and change. It'll allow us to create more jobs that people are more likely to stay at, because, as I stated in the interview, you become a family. So if you're not even able to hire your own family, so creating these businesses and us as business owners working together and including one another, it will just create a change in the atmosphere, economic development through the roof. Hopefully in the future, with all of us coming together, we could kind of get some type of standalone building. And I often think of when I go to the Amish market, when I'm standing in there, I'm like, wow, what if this was us? Like, what if we all could just get one location and be in one space every Saturday morning? What would that do to our community? So that's kind of where I am with things and how I think it should work.
Okay.
So when you look at it, over 40% of Youngstown is minority, right? So, and the black dollar is so powerful. And I don't mean to take away from any other minority group ever, but there's so much power in how we spend our money. So if we could circulate that money back into our own community, then, like Ricole said, economic development becomes less of a problem. The educational system becomes less of a problem. The crime rate becomes less of a problem, because it all cycles back to economics. So if we can go and spend our money at these big label companies, then whoever down the street who sells something similar, good quality clothing or good quality purses or bags, why not give our money to them? Because then it kind of regenerates itself within the community.
Okay. And for those of you, I think our little logo down there at the bottom that says Conversation on Diversity, I think is covering up a bit of Tanisha's shirt, but it says hashtag Black Money. And so, when this is sort of the gist behind all of this coverage that we did in our August issue and our new diversity platform that we launched along with this. Why is inclusion and diversity a business matter? Why is this something that businesses need to be not only thinking about, but taking active steps to address?
I think inclusion is important. I've been saying this since 2019 when I ran for city council, but inclusion is important because if you feel invested in something, you will participate and you will act accordingly. People don't feel invested. People don't feel like our city government cares. People don't feel like they're included. So they walk around like, oh, I don't want, it's just, or, they have whatever excuse or whatever. But until they feel included, I don't think they'll work as hard because they won't invest because they don't feel included. So with inclusion comes investment.
And I think it's a class thing as well, because I think.
Oh, you froze up there, Tanisha. Can you hear us?
Come back.
Areas
Right,
that we need to serve.
Oh,
did you guys lose me?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind starting that over, you froze up again.
It's a class thing to me. So we need to be, again, meeting the people where they are. That low to moderate income area is where we need to be at, with the education to start. And like Ricole said, if you don't feel included or you don't feel like you're worth the investment, you're less likely to care. I don't know any other. So making sure we include not only minorities, not only women, not only children, but also all the classes. So making sure that the resources are accessible and available to those who actually need it and those that we're not touching directly. And I think that's a prompt to us as business owners or as community leaders to make sure that once we hit our mark of our circle of people or maybe somebody else's circle, we have to remember there's a whole circle on the outside of that who may not even know what we offer or what we're able to do. So I think getting the message out is a great start for the inclusion piece.
Okay. And, you bring up, we all have sort of our circles that we're in, and that's how life goes. But what for people who want to patronize minority owned businesses, to get involved in things like this, how do you expand that circle? How do people go about finding Black owned or other minority-owned businesses getting involved in, some of these efforts? Like you, Ricole, you brought up like Lori's Women in Business Markets, or other movements that are going on throughout the area. Just how can people expand that circle?
Go, Tanisha.
I think it's important to, this is just my theory. Somebody from each side of town. I'm a South Side girl. Ricole, you're an East Side girl.
Yes.
So my crew or the people that I know, I don't really know Ricole's crew. So it's important to have somebody from each side of town, from each business represented, from each school, from each whatever we want to say, represented, so that when we leave the table, we all go back to our group and say, this is what we're doing collectively. So then everybody's touched, because it's a small city, but I don't know everyone. Ricole doesn't know everyone. So there's always going to be someone who's missing that message. So I just think it's important. Collaboration is like the word of the year for me. Just collaborating, no egos, just working together to make sure that we are serving the people that need to be served the way that they need to be served.
Okay. She said it. She said it. That is what I've been preaching forever and ever, is collaboration. And I tell a lot of my friends this. everybody know I'm an East Sider. I love the East Side. I want to do everything I can to build up the East Side. And like Tanisha said, I think each business owner from each side of town should be the voice. We should be having meetings with all the business. Like I should be having meetings with all the businesses that are on the East Side. Just to name a couple, we have the new Takeout with Antonio Owens. We have Jamal Perry. He has Top Notch. So and then you have myself. So that's 3 people that I know we should be able to sit down, have a conversation, and say what we want our businesses to do to help build the East Side. And then maybe once a month or quarterly, we all come together as a city and bring those ideas to the table and move forward. And I think that will make a great impact when you can break it down to the 4 sides of town and then come back together. That is what I've been wanting to do. So
the offer's on the table.
I already got a name for ours on the East Side.
All right. So, just to wrap up, the last question I had for the 2 of you is, what encourages you as you look at the future of minority-owned businesses here in the Valley? What are those things that make you say, wow, we can do it. We're in a great position to accomplish something great.
So we just put 15 kids through our cohort, one of which is my 8-year-old child who I currently work for. So that to me is what gives me hope. Getting that message out to that younger generation that yes, college is excellent. Yes, working for somebody, we always need somebody to work for somebody, but creating your own wealth, building your own wealth, creating generational wealth, creating your own legacy. I truly believe that this generation will be vested in the city of Youngstown and will really want to stay, because by the time they become my age, they'll have built it from the ground. Their businesses will be storefronts, or they'll have e-commerce, or they'll be, running for elected. So just encouraging that next generation is what gives me hope.
Okay.
What gives me hope, again, I'm a money person, is seeing people being able to fulfill their goals and dreams through the funding process. I have been able to, including myself, I'm not good with words, but I've been able to get a hold of some funding for 3 businesses so that they can help grow. One of those businesses in particular, I'm not going to say her name, but if she's watching, she'll know who she is. She was able to take her funding and grow her business into 6 figures. So my goal as an accountant is to help these businesses grow into 6 figures. I don't often say this a lot, but I took a course that helped me get to that point. So because I reached that point, I want to take another person through that and get them there. And if we can just do that on a consistent basis, if you imagine, if we have 20 to 50 people in one side of town making $100,000 a year, what does that look like for the city of Youngstown? And that is my goal.
All right. Great. Well, thank you both so much for your insights. Before I start talking about what we're doing here at the Business Journal, are there any parting thoughts, any key lessons that you want people who have tuned in to sort of walk away with?
I want to just say this. It was kind of dropped into my lap this morning. To all my entrepreneurs, please do walk in faith and not fear. So that's all that I have. Walk in faith and not fear. Faith is what gets you through. Fear is what stops you.
Absolutely. Know that you're capable. Know that it is TV. It takes time. You have to grow it. You have to work it. You have to nurture it. But if you stick with it and you stay at it, it'll grow, and you'll be surprised. You'll look back in 3 to 5 years and you'll remember the ground, and now you'll be somewhere else. So just keep at it. Like Nicole said, just keep going, keep persevering, and don't be afraid to ask questions to those who have some answers.
Okay, great. Well, thank you both so much for joining us this afternoon. I did say I'd get on the Business Journal soapbox a little bit. I do want to promote our if I can get that on screen right, our August issue with Hasheen Wilson there on the cover.
Hasheen.
Talking about, we talked to a few Black business owners throughout the city, as well as, some local people who have help Black or minority entrepreneurs get their start. Juan Santiago at Farmers National Bank, Frank Hero and Lee Fields at Premier Bank, and a few other organizations throughout the city, including Tanisha and some of her colleagues there at the Youngstown Business Incubator. And this issue serves, for the Business Journal as the sort of official launch of our new diversity, equity, and inclusion platform. And the effort behind this is, we recognize that there is a large chunk of the Mahoning Valley's business community that we haven't given much coverage, and we want to improve that. We recognize that as our mission statement is to promote the growth and economic development of the Mahoning and Shenango Valleys, and that means all of that community. And if we're leaving chunks out, that's not living up to our mission. So going forward, what the Business Journal will have is, this week, if you've looked at our website, is Minority Entrepreneurship Week, where we're highlighting some of the coverage in our that was in our print edition, but that coverage will continue going forward. There will be more of that. We'll be reaching out to more entrepreneurs of color in the days, weeks, months, years ahead. This is the start of a long effort. And part of that is we're launching the Minority Business Directory. Jeff, if you wouldn't mind popping up the submission page. That is at businessjournaldaily.com / it's an easy URL / minority-business-directory. And it's free to sign up. A Business Journal representative will be in touch with everyone who submits. It is open to all entrepreneurs of color, Black, Latino, Asian, Arabic, any entrepreneur of color is welcome to sign up. It is free. There are no strings attached. We want to give people both a platform to promote their business, to get their name out there. And, for people who are looking to, people who are looking to patronize these businesses, we want to provide a way for them to find some of these companies that, Tanisha and Nicole, you both brought up that, we have to get outside our circle. So this is hopefully will be a handy place to look for that. And that'll also give us at the Business Journal an idea of who we can be reaching out to improve that coverage. And just the final note I'll leave everything on is we can't do this without the two of you, without you, Tanisha and Ricole, and to everyone listening out there, we need your help in this. We don't know everything that's going on. We don't always know who we should be talking to. What I tell people is if we don't know about it, we can't cover it. So please, if you're an entrepreneur, sign up for this free directory. Reach out to me. My information is on the contact page here at businessjournaldaily.com. And please, if we're missing anything, if there's anything good or new or interesting or, a larger story that you think we should cover, please reach out to us and let us know. So that is the end of my soapbox. Here's the submission form for the business directory. I want to thank Tanisha and Ricole. Thank you both so much for joining us this afternoon, and for everyone who tuned in to listen to this conversation. I greatly appreciate it, and I look forward to hearing, hopefully, from some of you. So thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your afternoons, everybody.
Thank you, Josh. Have a good one.
Yep, me too.
Thank you, Josh. Have a good one. See you, Tanisha.
Bye, Nicole. Have a good one.